Welcome back to Crochet Johns. If you haven't already, like and subscribe here. Follow me at Crochet Johns on my Etsy shop and on Instagram. This is video 2 of crocheting my childhood stuffed animals, and this week we are doing this little platypus that I grew up with. So this platypus, I do not remember when I got it. I feel like I've had it as long as I can remember. It was amongst the piles and piles of stuffed animals that were at the foot of my bed as a kid. The tag here says that it is a Cascade toy made in Indonesia. So maybe we can look into that and see if we can find any information about Cascade toy. Whoa. That is not the same. I'm not trying to figure out how much this guy is worth. I'm just seeing if there's any information about Cascade Toys, the company. See, maybe if I look up Cascade Toy Company, maybe they have a wiki or something? Well, I tried and I couldn't find any information about this. I feel, and I have no information to back this up, I feel like I got this at a zoo at some point. My family was really big on going to zoos when we were kids. My family had memberships to the San Diego Zoo. We grew up about 2 hours from there, and I feel like I got this at a zoo at one point. I don't know why I feel that way, but maybe I just would take him to the zoo with us or something when I was little. I don't know. Going to the zoo so much growing up gave me my love for animals to begin with, and so that's the association I had with this little guy. How am I going to go about doing this? He has a very obvious seam down the middle. And so the way that he was made was definitely with 2 large pieces this way, it seems like, and they're sewn together, and then the tail has seams on the either side and a seam around here. For crocheting, I think what's going to make the most sense is similar to the bowl that I did. If you haven't seen that, check the last video. Similar to the bowl, I'm going to kind of chain maybe 5, 6, maybe up to 8 chains across this way, stitches, and then start crocheting around that and having this like oval shape that then once I get to this point, I'll start expanding up and changing the color to this darker brown that I have. The eyes that are deep set into this have like a brownness to them. I don't know if that's showing up on the camera at all. Let's see if I can adjust. It's got like a brown and very realistic looking. I don't have realistic eyes like this, so I'm just going to use my general plastic safety eyes. I might add some details to give it some life, some highlights or something, but generally speaking, I'll transition to the head in a different colored yarn so that it matches the brown a little bit closer, go down the body all the way down to the tail, and then the tail will probably be a similar process as the bill, because they both have that kind of oval, flat, round kind of shape to them. This one's just obviously a little bit thicker, a little bit longer, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue. And then I'll sew on the legs separately, probably do them separately. These ones at least have like a little bit of an arm to them. The back ones are just feet that are attached, and so I don't think that will be too difficult. I'm imagining I'll probably chain up and down to get those seams, or at least something that mimics those seams a little bit. But I think this guy's going to be pretty straightforward. Honestly, I talked in another video of ramping up difficulty of the stuffed animals. This guy might be easier than the red bull that I did last time. Definitely less pieces to sew together. So we'll see how long this guy takes. I don't think it's going to be super long. So a new thing I'm going to try for this project is mixing 2 different types of yarn. So hopefully they're about the same size. They look about the same size. They're both considered number 6 weight. I couldn't really find a typical chunky style yarn that I typically like to make projects in with the right color brown. So I found this wool one that is pretty close to the color. I like it. It's close enough. But I also had this Premier Basics Chanel Brights in caramel that I used with the Scooby-Doo that I made. If you haven't seen that video, it's on my channel. I think I have enough here. Yeah, I've got 76 grams of this Premier Basics caramel left. I think it's only like 150 grams to begin with, so I've got about half of a skein here. Yeah, and so I got about half a skein of this. I think it's gonna be enough because I'm just doing the face and the feet in it. So that should be enough to make that. And then I actually got 2 skeins of this wool yarn bee. What color do they call this? Brown. Very creative. But I got this 2 skeins of this yarn bee. They're both 5 ounces or 142 grams. So those are the 3 skeins that I'll be using to make this project. Hopefully it doesn't take too long, but let's get into it. So right as I sat down to start the platypus, got a notification that my pickup order at the grocery store was done because I forgot to pick up mango chutney for dinner tonight. And this video is going to turn into a little quick cooking video, so enjoy that, and then we'll get to the platypus. Chutney acquired. You want to try some of that? We're having fun. Oh, there it is. We're back. Got the mango chutney. Got this cool little headband that Hannah crocheted for me the other day because I was complaining how long my hair was getting in my face, and so gonna rock it. Enjoy this quick, fun time lapse of me making dinner. Okay, so the Premier Basic Chanel Brights recommends that I use an 8mm hook. This wool yarn, the yarn bee, recommends I do a 9. I'm gonna do the 9 because I'm worried about if I do a smaller hook that I might accidentally split some of the wool yarn because it's wound kind of loose. So we're gonna go with the 9 for this project, see how it works. Let's get started. Really like how this came out. I feel like the shape of it, the size is pretty similar. I do like the color now that I've actually made it. It looks good. And so now I'm just going to continue around and build up this really quick, and then in the same round I'll switch to the new wool dark brown yarn and we'll just continue all the way around. But I really like how it's coming out so far. Good size, good dimensions, so let's keep going. Okay, so where I'm at is I feel like this nose looks pretty good, pretty similar, but this little crease and flap here is throwing me off. So what I think I'm gonna do, I have to keep going to get the shape of the head and stuff it and see how it maybe changes the shape of this. But I'm thinking that I might just sew this here so that it kind of creates that crease after the fact. But I'm gonna keep going, get the rest of the head shape down. Then when I sew that, maybe the crease will look more. I just want that little brown patch that's going up, because I think it's going to change the face if I don't have it. So we'll keep going, get more of the head done, that way I can see if this round shape like pulls back at all, something like that, maybe. So if that happens, then I won't need to sew like that, but I'm not sure if that's happening. So we'll see. Keep going. Alright, I'm about halfway done with the body. I like how it's coming out. I'm not gonna sew up the bill like I thought I might. I like how it looks. I think it looks kind of cute. Definitely looks different. The eyes sink in a lot more because this is just fluffier material. I'm halfway done with the body. I think it's lining up pretty good. This guy looks a little bit more boxy than the original, but I think that's just because of the pattern that I'm creating. When stitches stack up on each other, or if certain decreases are in certain places, it turns into a little bit more of a boxy shape than a round shape. But I'm fine with it. I like them. So I just finished up this part of the body. I'm going to continue on and just make the tail attached to the end here, but got him stuffed, and his shape looks really good. Now that he's stuffed, I get a better idea of what he kind of looks like. I realized that because I started off in the bill being oval, once I got to here, the rest of the body is going to take on that oval shape. In the future, I might like do something to actually adjust it once I get to the darker brown to make it more of like a round shape, because the original is definitely much more like torpedo-like, very round. But generally speaking, I like how he looks. He looks like a funny bowling pin at this point, but looks good. I will probably finish up the rest tomorrow. I think I'm gonna finish up the tail tonight, but then I'll finish up the rest tomorrow with the legs and everything, sew it on, and we'll be done. So it's the next morning, and here is what the finished body of the platypus looks like. Here's the original to compare about size. Color is obviously a little bit different. I knew it was going to be a little bit different, but I really like how he came out. The dimensions are, I feel like, pretty similar, almost identical. The shape of the bill came out really good. The eye placement, it definitely looks different because the eyes stick out a little bit more, and so he's kind of goofy looking, but I like him. He's cool. This guy has the fur, the faux fur on here is just a little bit thicker, and so the eyes set in a little bit. They're less obvious, but I like this guy. He's fun. So I'm gonna do the feet real quick. I'll have to sew them all on. I think that'll be the easiest way to make sure it looks right and is in the right place. But work on those and then sew them up, and we'll be done. Not gonna be able to do much without this. So after I was looking at it, it was just gonna be too complicated to try and do these legs and feet all in one. And whenever you look at it, the feet are, actually they might be the same. I think they might be the exact same thing, they're just flipped. So I'm just gonna make the 4 feet individually, and then sew these ones directly onto the body, sew these ones directly onto these legs after these legs get attached to it. So that'll be the last thing, and then I'll be done. We're here at my parents' house, but I finished the platypus last night, and here is the final result. I did the feet, all 4 of them separately. I'll have another video so you can get a better picture of kind of the build of it, but I decided to go with the option of making the 4 feet separately and then just sewing them on as the same thing, because I tried just going from this leg into doing the foot and it wasn't really working. I also had to redo these feet multiple times because I was like, I really want to get some of those details of the toes individually, and ultimately I think this yarn is just a little bit too chunky to get like individual toes without it being like one toe was this big and the next one was like this big. I could go back with thread. I don't think it needs it. I like how he looks, how he came out. This is my first time working with the like wool yarn that most of his body is made out of, and that was really easy to work with for the most part. I just had to work a lot slower because there's more threads in it. Basics Premier yarn that I'm using for this is just one strand, I guess, but these are like multiple strands that are wound together, and so I just had to make sure I wasn't pulling in between as I was crocheting, so went a lot slower. It was a much simpler design than the bull was. I got to do most of the body in one without any sewing at all. I just started from the front of the nose and then all the way down the body to the tail, which is one piece. So that made it a lot simpler as far as the design goes. The feet took a minute to get to a way that I like it, but I like how he looks now. I'm excited for the next project, which is going to be the frog most likely, if I can find the yarn. I've been looking for some good green yarn for the frog, and so we'll figure that out. But don't forget to like me on Instagram, check out my Etsy shop at Crochet Johns for both, and see you next time.